Hello and warm regards from Next Ties team. Welcome to another episode of Daily News Analysis. Today is 28th November and let's see the topics that we are going to cover today. The first topic we are having is INA accorded grade C. Now this grade C is given by IMF and INA here means Indian National Accounts, which amounts for GDP or GVA or we have CPI. So all these comes under INA. So we are going to see why this grade C, that is the second lowest status that is given by IMF to our Indian national accounts, and what are the concerns and issues here. Then second is genome editing. Genome editing, how it is different from genetically modified organisms, how genome edited organs are different from the genetically modified organisms. So we are going to differentiate between GE and GM crops. The third topic we are having is India-Nepal disputed territory. Now Nepal has released a new 100 rupees note in which it has shown some areas of India as its own territory. A map has been shown on the 100 rupees note. So we are going to see what is the areas that come under this disputed territory, what is the historical context of that. The next topic we are having is Tex-RAMPS Scheme. Now Tex-RAMPS Scheme is in the context of textile industries. Now government has launched a new scheme in which it is going to focus upon the research part of the textiles. The next is Auramine O. This is the food adulterant. So we are going to see how it is being used, what is its impact, and what are the other food adulterants. Next is INS Mahe. A new vessel has been inducted. This is an anti-submarine warfare vessel which has been inducted in the Indian Naval Command. And we are going to see what are the other naval vessels that have to be inducted here. In the decoded part, we are having labor codes. What is the significance, how it is going to benefit the workers, the women and the industry, we are going to see in the decoded part. So let's start with the first topic. The first topic we are having is Indian National Accounts or INA has been accorded a grade C status by IMF in its Article 4 annual review. Now relevance is GS paper 3 economics accounting of the national income. Now let's go to the news. The news is that Indian national accounts, which include GVA and GDP, have been accorded a C grade status, that is the second lowest, whereas overall India has received a grade B status. So this grade C is an area of concern for us, and also we need to improve from grade B to grade A. So let's see it. So Indian national accounts, which are going to include GDP and GVA, there are four basic issues that have been highlighted by the IMF. The first issue is outdated framework. The second one is methodological weakness. Third one is discrepancies in GDP estimates, and fourth one is limited granularity. First one is outdated framework. So outdated framework means that the framework that we are using, that is already outdated. A new advanced measure should be used. So in the advancement, the first one is the base year. Already we are using 2011-12 as base year for GDP and GVA. So that is outdated. Second one is for the deflator we use WPI. But a more advanced index is producer price index, that should be used. But India does not have a producer price index, that's why we are using WPI. So in both these areas we need to work. Already government is working upon revamping or renewing this base year. The second part is methodological weakness. So the method that we are using, that also needs some kind of reforms. The methodological weakness includes the first, there is lack of seasonally adjusted data. So it leads to ineffective surveillance, or it is hampering the surveillance. The second point here is that we need to improve the statistical techniques also. Third one is the discrepancies in GDP estimates. So whatever estimates we go for the national income, they are also having some discrepancies. How discrepancies? India actually calculates the GDP by two methods. One is expenditure and one is income. So the figures that we got from the expenditure method, we actually correlate it with the income method figures. So there is some kind of, you can say there is some kind of discrepancy in both the data. So this is indicating that there is inadequate coverage of the expenditure side data and the informal sector activities. Because when we are seeing the expenditure data, we are finding some other figure, and with the case of income there is some other figure. So the gap between the data that we get from the expenditure as well as from the income method. तो उन दोनों के बीच में जो gap है वो क्या show करता है? It shows that first of all जो हम expenditure side data ले रहे हैं, there is some deficiency. Secondly, the informal sector is not being covered. The informal activities are not being covered. So both of them have to be covered. So it is showing that there is discrepancy in the GDP estimates. The last one is limited granularity. Limited granularity means that the detailing part, that is not there. For example, in the limited granularity part, we do not get a breakup or institution wise breakup of the gross fixed capital formation. For example, how much formation has been there in the households or corporates, or you can say government. So that data we are not revealing. When we are not revealing that data, what is happening? It happens like that we do not know what is the exact cause of the increase or decrease in the economic performance. So that data is also lacking. Lastly, there is need for more detailed breakdown of the quarterly production and expenditure estimates. So these are the four issues that have been highlighted by IMF in our INA. Now next part is the CPI. For the CPI, the IMF has said that India's CPI has got a B grade. That means the CPI data that we are giving, it is at the second grade. So it is a good one, but there are still certain issues. First of all, IMF says that the CPI comes on monthly basis, that is a good thing, but there are certain issues that India need to resolve. The first issue we are having is again of the base year. The base year that we are following is 2011-12. So we need to change that, we need to renew that. The second is that the item basket and the weights that we are using, they are no longer matching with the today's consumption pattern. So on the second part also we are lacking. So both of these are resulting in reducing of the accuracy in the capturing of true inflation trends. So this was the problem with the CPI. The next thing is that what is the overall view? The overall view is that the government finance, external sector, monetary finance statistics and interconsistency have all been rated as B. Secondly, each category has strength but noticeable gaps still remain, so we need to fill the gap. There are gaps, that's why we have got a B status. Then government's ongoing reforms. So India is now updating the GDP and CPI base years and methodologies. Secondly, new statistical series is expected to be early or by the mid 2026. The next is continuous concern. Continuous concern is that last year also we got the C grade status, so we need to change that. IMF have noted that the data weakness remains largely unchanged. So what is the observation of IMF? IMF's observation is that last year also we were having the same status, this year also we are having the same status. That means the problems which were in the last year are also continuing for this year. Now it's your turn. You have to attempt this MCQ and you have to post your answers in the comment box. We are waiting for the answers, and let's move to the second topic. The second topic we are having is genome editing. Now we have two type of crops. One is genetically modified crops, or you can say transgenic crops. Second one is genome edited crops. Now how both are different from each other? Because India's policy with respect to both of them is different. India is now supporting this genome edited crops. The policy is also very much supportive, as well as India is also providing funding. The relevance is GS paper 3, science and technology, development and their application in the effects in the everyday life. So first of all, let's see about the news. The news is that only one genetically modified crop has been being cultivated in India, and that crop is BT cotton. So BT cotton is the only crop that has been approved and being commercially produced in India, and it was given the commercial cultivation approval in 2006. Uske alawa there is one more crop that is known as BT brinjal. The commercial cultivation approval was given in 2009, but moratorium was put upon its commercial production, so it is not being produced in the country. Although approval has been given, and approval is given by GEAC, or Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee. So you have to study about Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee. Now uske alawa we are having one more crop, GM mustard DMH11. It is again a genetically modified crop. Now it has been given an environmental release clearance in 2022 by GEAC, but final approval for its commercial production is still pending. Uske alawa we are having other crops like HT, BT cotton, GM chickpea, GM maize, etc., which are still under the field trials. So one thing is very, very clear, that for the genetically modified crops we are very, very apprehensive, and the government, due to the pressure from the environmental organizations as well as from the farmers, the GM crops are not being introduced in the country. Uske alawa we have genetically engineered crops or genome edited crops. Now this genome edited crops, how they are different from the genetic engineered crops. In genetic engineering, what we do is that we choose an organism and we see this trait is beneficial. For example, in Bacillus thuringiensis, that is a bacteria, we found that there is a gene that can kill the bollworms. Now bollworm actually affect cotton. So what we did that the Bacillus thuringiensis, the protein that killed this bollworms, we extracted that particular gene from this Bacillus thuringiensis and we put that in the cotton plant and it became BT cotton. So see what has happened here. What has happened here is that we have used a gene from an unrelated organism and that gene has been put into the cotton plant. So these are known as, this is known as genetic engineering, and this BT cotton is known as transgenic crop. That means gene is being taken from an unrelated organism. This is the genetic engineering, or these are known as transgenic crop. So these are genetically modified crops. Now second we are having is genome editing. Genome editing में हम क्या करेंगे? We are going to find a targeted gene and we are going to edit it. कहाँ से edit करेंगे? The whole genome or the gene pool will be seen, and from that the gene which is required will be taken and that will be edited in this genome edited plant. So in genome edited plant and edited crop, what we are doing is that we are taking the gene from a related plant or related genome. So that is the difference between genome editing and genetically engineered. So genetically modified crops include, they contain a foreign gene from an unrelated species like BT gene from Bacillus thuringiensis. Genome edited crops involve editing existing gene within the plant's own genome. So उसी crop को अगर आप edit कर दोगे तो क्या बन जाएगा? Genome edited crop. If you are introducing a foreign gene, then it becomes genetically modified crop. So from a genetically modified crop, we are now producing a novel protein, that means a new protein like insecticidal protein that is being produced by this BT gene which kills the bollworms. Secondly, in the genome edited crops, what we are doing is that we are producing mutations that change the genome expression without introducing external DNA. So the DNA is same, only we are editing a particular gene. That is the difference between the two. Now in this context, what progress we have made? The progress is that in 2025, 2 GE rice lines and 1 mustard line has been given approval. So here the improved Samba Masuri 19% higher yield is there, that has been approved. Improved MTU 1010 better performance in saline and alkaline soils, that has been approved. With respect to mustard, it has developed as a canola quality low pungent mustard with resistance to major pest and fungal diseases. So these have been currently in progress. Now next thing is that how genome editing works. So genome editing में हम क्या करेंगे? First of all, we are going to identify. After identification, we are going to use molecular scissors like Cas9 and Cas12, and there we are going to cut that particular gene, and with the help of a navigator or a guide DNA, those genes will be located and they will be edited. Now next thing comes is that what is the policy support that is being provided by the government. So the first thing is that the regulation. So regulation for genetically genome edited crops is very different that from a GM crops. So with respect to GE crops, the approval by the Institutional Biosafety Committee is more than enough. So the it is exempted from a stringent GM biosafety mechanism. GEAC approval is not required, whereas for GM crops GEAC approval is very much required. Second is they are treated similarly to the conventional varieties, enabling faster trials and release. उसके साथ साथ there is funding boost also by the government. The National Agriculture Science Fund has been used for the development of these GE crops. Even 2023-24 budget 500 crore rupees have been allocated for the development of the GE crops. In this context, the ICAR has identified 178 targeted genes across 24 field crops. Also, we are using including horticulture crops here. So there we have identified 43 target genes. So by editing these genes, we are going to improve their production, we are going to improve their sustenance and resilience against the environment as well as the climate change. Now next thing is that indigenous gene innovation. Now a team at this CRRI, that is in Cuttack, that is Odisha, they have developed a homegrown genome editing tool. So it is homegrown, the name is TNPB protein, that is important. So you should be knowing that this is a genome editing tool. Now this genome editing tool it has been developed in the India itself, it is indigenous, that's why it will be of lower cost because there is domestic IP rights that we are having. Also will have greater editing precision. So that is the benefit of this particular TNPB protein tool. Now it's your turn, attempt this MCQ and post your answers in the comment box. And then we are going to move towards the third topic. The next topic is India-Nepal disputed territory. Now what is the backdrop why we are discussing this particular topic? Nepal has now issued a 100 rupees note which is showing Nepal's map, and in that Nepal's map it is showing 3 territories which are part of India as Nepal's territory. So that is the backdrop here. The topic is relevant from GS paper 2, India and its neighborhood relations. So let's go to the news. The news is that the Nepal's map is depicting Kala Pani, Lipu Lake and Limpedhura as the part of Nepal which are actually controlled by India and have been part of India only. Now on the map these are the 3 parts, Limpedhura, then we have Kala Pani and Lipu Lake. This whole area is shown on the as the part of Nepal's territory on that rupees 100 note. Now let's go to the historical background of this particular issue. We had an Anglo-Nepalese war, and that Anglo-Nepal war ended with the Treaty of Sagoli. Now this Treaty of Sagoli demarcated the boundary line between Nepal and the British territory or British occupation of India, and that said that river Kali will be the boundary line between India and Nepal. Now if we see on the map, this river Kali originates from Kala Pani and forms the boundary between India and the Nepal. Now what is Nepal's stand? Nepal is saying that this particular river Kali originates from Limpedhura, and this should be the boundary line between India and the Nepal. Whereas India has consistently saying that this particular river Kali originates from Kala Pani and that should be the boundary between India and Nepal. Now where does this ambiguity arises? The ambiguity arises because the Britishers after this treaty have shown different sources of river Kali. However, after 1860, for consistently the British map has shown that the Kala Pani is the origin source of river Kali. So that is the basic problem that we are having. And since independence also, India has maintained this stand that Kala Pani is the source for the particular Kali river. That should be the boundary line between India and the Nepal. Now there have been some recent development due to which this particular disputed area have come into picture. In 2020, we have developed a Dharchula Lipule road, and that road has been built for the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. And one more fact here, the Lipule pass that directly connects the Uttarakhand to the Tibet is used for the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra, and this Lipule pass is situated in Pithoragarh district of UK. After that, in 2020 itself, the Nepal's parliament passed a constitutional amendment to adopt a new map showing all 3 areas as Nepal's territory, and recent development is that Nepal has issued a 100 rupee currency note showing these 3 areas as Nepal's territory. Now it's your turn, you have to attempt this MCQ and you have to post your answers in the comment box. And let's move to the next topic. The fourth topic we are having is about the Tex-RAMPS. Now this Tex-RAMPS is a new scheme that has been launched by the government for the textile sector. So this Tex means textiles, and the relevance is GS paper 3 in the economics part. The full form of this Tex-RAMPS scheme is Textile Focused Research Assessment, Monitoring, Planning and Startup. Now see the objective. The objective will be related with the scheme's name itself. The objective is to strengthen the research, innovation and competitive strength of the Indian textiles, and as the name suggests, this scheme will be implemented by Ministry of Textiles. Also it is a central sector scheme, that's why all the funding, that is 305 crore rupees, will be directly coming from the center itself. So you should be knowing this is a central sector scheme first of all, and this scheme is for textile sector. Now the tenure period is from 2025 to 2030 or 2030-31. Now this particular time period, it falls or it co-aligns with the Finance Commission's tenure. The next Finance Commission that is coming, it is co-terminus with that particular Finance Commission. Now what are going to be the key elements here? The key elements will include, first of all, research and innovation. Research and innovation, for example, in the smart textiles, for example, in the process efficiency, how to improve that. Then we have data analytics and diagnostics, because data is very much required for policy making. So for that we are going to see how much employment we have generated, what is the supply chain mapping. So we are going to also do the supply chain mapping here. So that is going to be the part of data analytics and diagnostics. The third one is integrated textile statistical system. So we are going to develop a platform through which we are going to have real time data, and we can analyze it and we can improve the particular scheme. Then next is capacity development and knowledge efficiency, knowledge economy. So we are going to focus upon that, the knowledge that has been developed through the research work, how that can be disseminated to the people. Then there will be state planning, development plans that will be made. So all this will form the part of capacity development and the knowledge ecosystem. Then lastly, startup and innovation support. The government is going to provide support for the innovation as well as for the startups in the textile industry. Now next part is, what are the expected outcomes? So whatever were our objectives, that will be the expected outcomes. The first one will be increasing India's competitive strength in the global market. Second one will be research and innovation ecosystem is getting strengthened. Third one will be a data driven policy making, because we are having a dedicated platform for the data part. Then generate employment opportunities and deeper collaboration between the various stakeholders like states, industry, academia and governmental institutions. Now with this, attempt this MCQ and post your answers in the comment box, and we move to the next topic. The next topic we are having is Auramine O. The next topic we are having is Auramine O. Now what is this Auramine O? It is a food adulterant. So what is the backdrop here? The backdrop is the Auramine O remains one of the most frequently detected banned substance in the Indian food market. So that is a problem for us. The relevance is the prelims, science and health. So let's go to the news. The news says that India continues to face repeated episodes of chemical food adulteration, and this particular Auramine O is found in sweets, savory snacks, fried items and artificially brightened chickpeas. जो चने हम खाते हैं उसके अंदर भी we find this particular Auramine O. Now what is this Auramine O? This Auramine O is a bright yellow synthetic industrial dye used in textile industry, paper industry, printing inks or microbial staining. So basically इसका जो काम है, that is having mainly industrial purpose, and when this industrial purpose chemical is being used in the food industry, then it is going to have negative impact on our health. And what are going to be the negative impacts? The first of all, liver and kidney will be affected. Then secondly, spleens will be affected. Then we can also have mutations in our genetic material, and also it is carcinogenic. So possibility of this chemical being carcinogenic is also there. So it is directly affecting the organs, and also it is affecting our genetic system and can be carcinogenic. So this Auramine O is a very grave health risk for our society. The next part comes is that how it is entering our food chain, if it is so much dangerous for us. The first and foremost thing is that there is easy availability of this cheap industrial dye. आसानी से मिल जाता है local market में. It is purchased through unlabeled informal supply chains. That is a problem for us. Then it is used by small sweet makers, street vendors. जिनको रेगुलेट करना बहुत मुश्किल है। तो ये लोकल रोड लेवल, रोड पे जो आपको स्वीट्स वगैरह मिलती हैं, उसमें यू विल फाइंड द यूज ऑफ दिस Auramine O. So wherever you are finding any product that is bright yellow, that might be having this Auramine O. Then it is lack of awareness among for the banned dyes. That is also one problem. Then enforcement is seen as inadequate and infrequent, because when the small these sweet makers are involved in this, any action by the government is seen as demotivating them. So ये एक problem हमारे लिए बन जाता है. Also जो visits होती हैं, जो raids पड़ती हैं, जो inspections होते हैं, they are infrequent. So and one more thing is there, during the festivals, as the demand of these sweets increase, so the use of this Auramine O also increases. So these are the reasons why this Auramine O is seen in our food system. Now next part is that the food adulterants, what are the dye based and chemical adulterants that are very much common in the Indian markets. The first one is metanyl yellow, then we have rhodamine B, then we are having Sudan dyes, arginine oil, chalk powder used as added to the flour, then we are having mineral oils mixed with the edible oil, then we are having urea that is used in milk, and lastly the calcium carbide is used for the artificial fruit ripening. So it is used for fruit ripening purposes. Now next part is food adulteration in India. What are the basic reasons? So some reasons we have already covered. Now let's summarize them. The first one is most common in unorganized food sector. So the unorganized food sector is one of the problematic areas for India. Within minimal oversight, then micro and small enterprises have limited knowledge of the safe manufacturing practices. So first of all ये activity already हो रही है. दूसरा उनको पता भी कम है कि क्या safe food habits होती हैं. Third one is enforcement is also not very much strengthened. It is uneven. Uneven कैसे है? There is varying lab capacity. हो सकता है किसी state के अंदर labs are good and in some states and cities the labs are absent. Then storage, the shortage of technical staff is also there who are going to test them. Then there is patchy surveillance across the state. The surveillance is also not very much deep. It is very superficial one. So what is the problem? The problem is that crackdowns have been there, but the economical gain as well as the weak supply chain regulation, that is the reason why we are having food adulterates in our food. Now next is current regulatory efforts what the government is doing. The FSSAI or FSSAI is responsible for safer foods for us. So it has enhanced its surveillance, especially during the festival season. Secondly, the states have also carried out targeted raids, seizing illegal dye packets, prosecuting offenders. Then there are awareness programs that are being run, awareness of the consumer as well as of the producers. Producers must also be aware that they are using chemicals which are going to be dangerous for the public health. Also, the people are being, or the consumers are being made aware that they should avoid such kind of foods which are having these kind of adulterants. Lastly, we need to develop the testing part. So for the testing part, we are developing our lab infrastructure, we are improving our lab infrastructure, as well as one more important thing is that we are developing rapid testing kits, so that on-site detection of the industrial dyes can be done. And if these rapid testing kits are available for the consumers, then they will be empowered to select that which food they have to take and which food they have to avoid. Then what is the way forward? The way forward is that first of all, regulation must be tightened regarding the chemical market selling industry or the supply chain of these chemical dyes. Then continuous education for the smaller and micro food processors is required. Large scale rollout of the user friendly testing kit, that is very important, because it is going to empower the common man to select which food they need to avoid. Once the demand of these foods decline, then it will become easy for us to phasing out this use of these chemical dyes. Then stronger uniform penalties for the repeated violators, greater consumer awareness is required, and strengthening of the surveillance including supply chain tracking and digital monitoring is also very much required. Now you are in a position to attempt this MCQ and post your answers in the comment box, and we move to the sixth topic. The sixth topic we are having is INS Mahe. Now the backdrop is that a new anti-submarine warfare shallow water craft has been inducted in the Indian Navy, and the topic is relevant from the prelims defense sector point of view. Now let's see about this. First of all, in INS Mahe, what is INS Mahe? It is a anti-submarine warfare shallow water craft. Shallow means ज़्यादा डेप्थ नहीं होगी. Second, anti submarines means कि submarines को गिराएगा. So it is being developed as an anti-submarine warfare. Now it is indigenously designed and built by the Cochin shipyard. So you should be knowing Cochin shipyard is an important shipbuilding industry. And 80% of the components that have been used in this INS Mahe, they have been indigenous. So that is an important thing. Another important thing is that INS Mahe is the first of the class Mahe class vessels. So it is the first vessel of the Mahe class. There are going to be total 8 vessels that will be developed under this Mahe class. Now your homework is, you have to tell me this Mahe word, where from where this name has been taken. Now let's move forward. Now it will enhance India's near sea dominance. When we are talking about shallow seas means coastal areas wale sea. So it is going to enhance India's near sea dominance, coastal security, littoral combat capability. So it is suitable for, first of all, underwater surveillance, because submarines are going to be underwater. So it should have underwater surveillance capabilities. Secondly, it is anti-submarine. So that's why it can go for anti-submarine warfare operations. It can also install mines in the sea. Then it can also go for research and rescue, and low intensity maritime operations it can conduct. So these are the capabilities of this INS Mahe. Now next part is, for this coastal security and the anti-submarine warfare, we were having initially Abhay class corvettes. Now they have been phased out by 2025, and we are now introducing new vessels. There are 16 anti-submarine warfare vessels that will be inducted in the Indian Navy. So out of this, 8 are going to come from the Mahe class, and 8 are going to come from the Arnala class of weapons. Now this has been approved by the Defence Acquisition Committee in 2013 itself. Now let's see the names of these particular vessels. This Arnala class, they will be developed by the Garden Reach and Engineers, that is based in Kolkata, and these are going to be the vessels that will be inculcated or inducted under the Arnala class vessel. So Arnala class mein already INS Arnala and INS Androth, they have been inducted, they have been commissioned. Upcomings will be Anjadeep, Amini, Abhay, Agre, Ajay and Akshay. The second we are having is Mahe class ships. There are again 8. INS Mahe already commissioned. Upcomings will be Malwal, Mangrol, Malpe, Mulki, Machilipatnam. So these are going to be inducted in the Indian Navy. So there are total 16 vessels that we are developing as anti-submarine warfare, for the anti-submarine warfare operations. Now it's very important for India to develop such vessels, because they are having a coastline of 11,098 kilometers. That is the updated figure of our India's coastline. So to manage that coastline, to keep it safeguard, to secure it, we need to have such kind of defense mechanisms. Now it's your turn. You have to attempt this MCQ and you have to post your answers in the comment box, and we move to the decoded part.